Trey. Like, he freaking killed it tonight, y'all. Love you, bro. How you guys doing? Spring break? Is everybody on spring break? Who's not on spring break? Like everybody. Like, there's like 3 people in here. Who is on spring break? Nice. So, as I was back there, like, I was really, like, I was talking to Hannah. I can't see any of y'all because the lights are so bright. I was talking to Hannah earlier today. And, like, I don't get nervous. Like, I don't really get nervous to come out here and talk. Like, I get nervous for, like, just a second. And then I come up here and I'm, like, super, super comfortable. Like, I'm really, really nervous right now. Like, I'm really, really nervous to talk to you guys. And I'll tell you why. I was thinking back to when I was your age, to when I was in high school, to when I was in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, all the way through high school. And I didn't realize then that the decisions that I made in high school would affect me now. Like, even the smallest decisions, I didn't realize how much they would affect me, even when I'm as old as I am now, 43. Old, y'all. What's that? I am proud of that, 43. I made it this long. Everything that you do, everything that you say, every way that you act, every decision that you make, some big, some small, whether you get in that car, whether you drink at that party, whether you do whatever it is you do, is going to affect you when you're 20, when you're 40, when you're 60, when you're 80. It's going to affect it. And that's really, really hard to understand. I'm 43 and it's hard for me to understand. I can't even imagine how I even began to wrap my head around it when I was y'all's age, when I was in high school, when I was younger. Hey, Tino.
Yes.
What do you wish that you knew when you were in high school that you knew right now?
That everything that you think is so important to you right now, whether it be your friends, what people think of you, the choices you make, the cliques you hung out with, whether or not you went to that party, all that doesn't matter when you get out of high school, because a lot of times I think there's one person that I still deal with that I went to high school with who's still my best friend. All those people that you think are so cool and you know, they've got everything together, sometimes they don't, and at that point you need to concentrate on you and worry about you and what other people think. So I think I wish I'd have known that now, because now I just don't care. but back then I did worry about, well, wow, what are they gonna think about me? Am I gonna fit in? Or do they think I'm cool? You know.
That's really good. Like, I've got an example of that myself. Like, when I was in high school, there was a kid, his name was Joey Nehrude. And he was like the coolest kid in school. And I wanted to be just like, I was like the dorkiest kid in school. Like, I showed you guys a picture, was it last week? I showed you guys a picture of me. Like, I was the guy that was bullied and picked on really, really hard. I wanted to be Joey Nehrude. And then I found out, I was 21, 22 years old. I found out that, dang you, Ben, I forgot you still had that. I found out when I was 21, 22 years old that Joey Nehrude was in prison. And he might still be in prison right now. He killed a guy. He literally killed a guy. He was at a party doing something stupid, and whatever, one thing led to another. And now Joey Nehrude, the guy I wanted to be like, is in prison. And I'm up here speaking to you guys about Jesus. So, hey, Hannah. I'm gonna give you the mic here. Same thing I asked Tino. What do you wish you knew now, or you wish you knew then that you know now?
So I have 2 things. I think.
I said one.
No, well, I'm gonna say 2. Yeah. I think that you're not alone. Sometimes in the heat of what you think are big problems, like what Tino said, that you think are big problems, you're all alone in it, and that no one else feels this way, no one gets you, and that none of your peers even get you or anything. Your parents don't get you, whatever. God does. Mm-hmm. God knows you. God knows your heart. And it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. It doesn't matter what you did last week. It doesn't matter what you're doing now. God loves you, and you're not alone. You're not alone in it.
That's good.
The other thing, I can't remember now. It must not have been that important.
That's a drop the mic moment, so
But
that's good. That's good.
Definitely that you're not alone.
Not alone.
Because I felt like that a lot, and I now know that I never was alone.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, y'all, and I mean that's kind of what I'm talking about tonight. You're not alone. You know, I had a conversation last week. Am I getting feedback on this, Ben? I had a conversation last week with one of the students here, and what he told me was that he just felt like he didn't fit. He didn't fit in, and that really resonated with me. It hurt me to hear him say that, because when I was 17, 18 years old, I felt the same way. I felt like I didn't fit in. Like, everybody's the same. This is what I thought. And maybe many of you think the same thing, that everybody's the same. Everybody's got their life together, except me. But then there's me. I'm different. Something's different about me. Why don't I fit in? Why don't I fit in with the cool kids? Why don't I fit in with the jocks? Why don't I fit in with the nerds? Why don't I fit in with the druggies? Why don't I fit in with whoever? Why am I always alone? Just like what Hannah just said. Why am I alone? Why don't I have any friends? Why don't people call me? Why doesn't this happen for me? Blah, blah, blah. And you just want to run away. Like, you just want to be by yourself, because that's the only thing you know to be. I'll say one thing, that when I was that age, and while I felt alone and I felt that I wanted to be with the in crowd, and I didn't know at the time that those years were making me who I am today, those years changed everything for me. Everything. When I'm 17, 18 years old, 16, 15, you know, even all my teenage years, it changed everything for me. You know, I had some really, really rough life experiences growing up. My parents divorced when I was really, really young. I was 2. We lived in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and they divorced. And I was too young to remember that, but I was old enough to remember that I didn't have a dad growing up. So that was really, really hard. And then the man who was like a dad to me, come from a small family. I was really close with my cousins. My uncle, his name was my Uncle Mike. My family knows him well. He was like a father to me. Well, he was in an explosion when I was 11, and he died. So everybody that I had in my life, my dad, my uncle, my friends, I went to a different school like every single year. The longest I was ever in a school was 3 years. So I was meeting new people every year, and I wasn't well liked. I was picked on, I was bullied really, really, really hard, and I was that outcast, so it was really, really hard to make friends. And you guys might have things you're hiding. Like, what are you hiding? Do you think you're alone in that? Or what is it? Do you have an addiction? Do you have a secret that nobody knows about? Why do you feel alone in that? Because we all share that. We all share things that we don't want to put out there because we're scared of what people might think. You just want to fit in, right? So let's not put it out there. Let's make sure that people don't know the real you. You're not alone. Just like Hannah said, you're not alone. Believe it or not, you've got friends. It's really, really hard to see. Like, all these people in here, I would consider my friends. I would consider anybody that I go to church with. I call Ben constantly. I talk to him. I talk to Isaiah. I talk to everybody. That I've got people that surround me that that can help you through stuff. Maybe you think that everybody has their life together. Like, we've got a few kids. Who's my rising seniors this year? Who's going away to college next year? 2 of you. So yeah, y'all. What's going to happen next year? You guys have no idea. You have no idea what's going to happen. We'll hear from Haley and her story here in a little bit, but you think everybody's got their life together. Surprise, Haley. You think everybody has their life together. They're going to college, they've got a really hot girlfriend/boyfriend, they drive a cool car, they're a jock, they're whatever. If you could just be like them. If I could just be like Lexi. If I could just be like Hannah. If I could just be like Daniel, I'd be okay. My life would be okay. But what you don't realize is what goes on behind the scenes. with these people. They have a real life too. They have things that they struggle with too. Do you talk to God? Hannah just says you're not alone. God is with you all the time, constantly. He's with me right now. When I'm nervous in the back, he's with me. I'm down on my hands and knees and praying. He's with me. My wife is standing out here praying over me during worship. He's with us. He's with you all the time. You're not alone. Do you talk to him? Because you can. He's right here. You can talk to him. The creator of the universe is right here. Like, who else would you want to talk to? He's standing right here and you can talk to him. That's awesome. It's not about Sunday and worship. Sunday and worship is great. Sunday at Big Church is great. Sunday at Youth is great. But what do you do when you're alone? Do you talk to him alone? Do you hang out with God? Do you go on a vacation with God? The creator of the universe, y'all. Like, who wants the coolest friends? Like, who thinks they have the coolest friends? Like, I got the coolest father. Or like I talked about last week, I got the coolest grandpa. God, you can sit here and you can talk to the creator of the universe. I think of all the time. Like, how hard is it to be thankful for the hard times in your life? Like, thank you for my parents getting divorced. Thank you, God, for my Uncle Mike dying. Thank you, God, that I was bullied. If I wasn't, would I be standing here talking to you guys right now? Would I have my same story? Would you have your same story? Be thankful for those things. In Acts 17, 24 through 26, it says, "The God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth and does not live in temples built by human hands. He is not served by human hands as if he needed anything. Rather, he himself gives everyone life and breath and everything else. From one man he made all the nations, that they should inhabit the whole earth, and he marked out their appointed times in history and the boundaries of their lands." God did this so that they would seek him and perhaps reach out to him and find him, though he is not far from any one of us. What's that verse saying? Saying that none of this is an accident. None of it. All of this is intentional. The God of the universe determined when and where you would be born, at what time. Everything about your life has these boundaries that he determined. This is where you're going to be. This is what I'm going to allow to happen. This is how I'm going to shape you. He allowed these specific things to happen to you. Why? Why did he do that? Well, it says in Acts 17, 20-something, 20-ish. So that we would seek him and perhaps reach out to him and find him. That's why he does these things, so we would reach out to him. Everything that happened in my life has made me into the person I am today. And all of it works together for a reason. Because he wanted me to find him. Without him, I am nothing. So the world is trying to tell you this lie, that everything is an accident. Like, all of this happened because it was an accident, right? The Big Bang Theory, all the crap that they tell you, that all of this is an accident. Well, I got news. The world is lying to you. Acts 17, 24 through 26 says that God made the world and everything in it. Now, we just had a conversation last week in a class that Amanda and me are taking, that I believe, and it says that God made the world in 7 days. Now, I'm a biblical literalist. I believe that God made the world in 7 days. God can do anything he wants to, right? God sits in the clouds, he does whatever he wants to do. I believe that God made the world in 7 days. That's insane. That blows my mind. Okay, so let's think of it this way. We are right now sitting on a ball. It's not a flat earth. Let's get rid of all the flat earth stuff. We're not sitting on a flat earth. It's dark somewhere and it's light somewhere else. That proves it right there anyways. But anyways, we're sitting on a ball. Exactly, Broadway. We're sitting on a ball that is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Right now we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're like, yeah, I know. No, that's weird. Like, that's weird that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour right now. A bowl of water. Really? That's what you got? Water. Woulda, as the New Englanders say. A ball of woulda spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That's normal? Like, that's okay. Like, we're okay with that we're sitting on a ball of water? Am I saying water weird, y'all?
No. Yes. No, you're not. The one time you did.
Water. 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 All right, I'm gonna give it to Hannah. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna start it, and she's gonna finish it. A ball of
water.
Water. Water. Is that correct?
I'm not from here, so I might be saying it weird too.
H2O.
We are sitting on a ball, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour of H2O. Okay, so it gets better. It gets better. You guys are going to continue to laugh. And this bowl of water, has a core that's hot somehow. Bowl of water that has a core that is hot. We are a fireball covered with water. It doesn't spill. That makes all the sense in the world, right? Spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, flying on a ball of water, a ball of fire. It's crazy to me. We are spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour, ball of water, core of fire, flying around another huge fireball that's 1.3 million times the size of Earth. 1.3 million times the size of Earth. That's incredible. And it's 93 million miles away. And we think, oh, it's a little hot today. That's insane! Like, that's insane! You guys ready? Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. So we're flying around this ball of fire at 67,000 miles an hour. So right now we're spinning at 1,000, flying at 67,000, and we're saying, yep, that was an accident. What? How is that an accident? We just happened. And also we're like this perfect distance away from the sun that any further away we would freeze and any closer we would burn up. Somehow that just accidentally happens. All these particles come together. We're also just accidentally talking right now. You guys just all accidentally happen to be here. You guys are all laughing. One of us is laughing. Thank you, Bailey. Thank you, Bailey. And we all have a different laugh. Like, we all have a different laugh, right? Like, what is that? Like, why do we do that?
Excuse you.
Who does that? Like, when you laugh? Like, I do that. Like, I want to laugh out loud, but why do we enjoy doing that so much? Why do we like that? We make goofy laughing, like everybody makes weird laughing sounds, like we all laugh, but we laugh differently. Like, why? Huh? What? Hey, giggles. Some of us belly laugh. I've heard Ben's laugh. It makes you laugh when Ben laughs. Like, listen to y'all, hold up. Everybody quiet down.
She's gonna snort.
Listen to Elle's laugh, y'all. Wow, that went south real quick.
She gonna hurt somebody.
Right, everybody has a laugh. Everybody has this laugh. And we're all laughing. We're all making the same noise, but it's different. Why did God create it that way? Why don't we all laugh the same way? Haley, how old are you?
Almost 13.
She's 12.
Almost 13.
She's short with blonde hair. Who else in here is 12?
I'm 12.
No, seriously, like, who else in here is 12? You're 12?
Yeah.
You look totally different than her.
I know.
But you guys should be the same, you're right?
No.
Why not?
Because
We're
we're not
different.
the same person.
You guys are both 12. When were you born?
Where or when?
When?
November 2nd.
November. So you're November and she's May. You guys are totally the same age, but look completely different. Why? Why did God create us all differently?
So we won't be boring.
So it won't be boring. That's true. There's nothing boring about Elle's laugh, by the way. So God created all these different things. We're on this fireball / water spinning around a fireball at 1.3 million. And you're going to call that an accident? The Bible says nothing is an accident. Nothing. Why did God do that? Listen closely. You were not here because he needs you. He doesn't need us. What's he need us for? He created us. That's like a cow needing us to give him milk. Man, I thought you'd laugh at that. Whatever. See how y'all are. Whatever. You're not here because he needs you to serve him. He's not served by human hands. You think he created you and the world and everything in it because he needs you? He doesn't need you. He doesn't need us to create him a temple. He doesn't need me to stand up here and give you guys this message. He doesn't need that. He gave us life and breath, everything. He is a giver. He gave us all of this. So why does he need anything from us? He can take it away just like that. Let's do an activity together. You guys ready? Like activities? Who said no? Who said no? I literally can't see anybody out there, so I don't know what I'm looking at. Okay, everybody. Everybody take the deepest breath that you can. And let it out. Dang, whose breath stinks?
I was about to say, somebody's a Tic Tac.
Man, somebody's a Tic Tac, bruh. All right, do it again. Deep breath. Let it out.
I almost passed out.
You were only allowed to do that. Listen, you guys were only allowed to do that because God gave it to you. I'm only allowed to take this breath because God gave it to me. The moment he decides he isn't going to give you another breath, it's over. It's over. So what does he need from me? Nothing. He doesn't need anything from any of us. He made everything. And he gives all of mankind life and breath and all the stuff that you see around you. Proverbs 16:9 says, we can make our plans, but God determines the steps. It's so funny out there. What y'all laughing at?
Ben was on his phone.
We can make our plans. We make plans. Imagine this. Everybody that dies tonight, had plans tomorrow. They had plans to go to work, plans to go to school, plans to have a date, plans to go to a concert. We make our plans, but God determines the steps. So God knew that I was going to be born in Fort Bragg, North Carolina in 1976. Shut up. Shut up. I'm old, I know. He knew that my parents were going to get divorced. He knew that I'd go to a new school every year. He knew I was going to get bullied. He knew that I wouldn't have a father in my life until I was 30. He knew all these things. Why did he do that? We talked about it before. Why did he do that? So we would seek him and reach out to him and find him. That's the only reason we're here, right? So I don't know what's happened in your life. God uses the craziest circumstances. But whatever he uses, I'm telling you, it's worth it. It's worth it to know him. That's what this whole life is about. It's to know him and for others to know him. That's what Oasis is here for, right? For the one who has their cards from today or from last week. Who's handing them out? Be honest. One person, y'all? That's why we're here. To hand out, to invite people to Oasis. To invite people to Jesus. To tell them about Jesus. We don't have to do anything. All we got to do is give them a card. And then let Jesus do the rest of the work. So I was flipping through my Bible one day. And I came upon this verse. It's in Jeremiah 1:5. And it said, the verse says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." And it wrecked me. Like, I read that, and everybody, I think most people have probably heard that verse. It's a relatively popular verse. Before you were formed in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. And you read that like, what? Like, are you reading that? Are you reading that right? Like, are we reading this right? Like, before I was formed, let's break it down. Oh, before I was formed in the womb, before I was in my mother's womb, I knew you. You knew me before I was formed? Like, I don't understand how that works. Before you were born, I set you apart. So what that means to me is, before I was even a thought in my mom's head or my dad's head, God knew me. I was born in 76, so let's say 75. Let's say 74, because I wasn't even in the womb in 74. God knew me in 74. My parents didn't even know me. And he set me apart. What's that mean? He set me apart. It's like he said, this one. I made this one. And I'm giving him a purpose. I have a plan for him. He knew me before I was put in my mom's belly, womb. And he had a purpose for me before I was even breathing. How does that work? How do we wrap our heads around that? So this music stand. God bless you, whatever that was. That was embarrassing. That was like a I know you guys heard it. So think of this music stand, okay? The guy who made this music stand set out with a purpose to make this music stand. It didn't just show up. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't just formed and ended up on this stage. And it's not like anything else. It's not like this chair, or this monitor, or that keyboard, or that guitar. It's not like any of them. The guy that created this thought, well, we've got a drum kit, a keyboard, and a guitar, and a monitor, and a stage, but we don't have this. We don't have this music stand. I need something different. He needed something different. So he created a music stand. Is it any more important than the guitar, or the drum kit, or the monitor, or the stage? No, it's not more important. It's not less important. But it's different. It's different than all of this stuff. But it works together with it. Right now, this music stand is super important to me because it's holding my notes that I'm reading off of. Because if I didn't have notes, I wouldn't know what the heck to say. But it's just a music stand. Like, we don't think anything of it. It's just a music stand. But the guy that made it knew exactly what he was creating before it was created. This is what I'm looking to create. I need something that holds papers and moves up and down and has a flat surface and that I can read off of and that moves up and down for different heights. So that's how I wrap my head around it. God created me before anybody even knew me, before I was even a thought. God knew me. And he gave me a purpose, like this stupid music stand. And when the guy created it, He created this music stand. It didn't just come together, right? He didn't just take a sheet of metal and a pole, some plastic and a couple screws and a toggle bolt. He had to bend the metal and heat the metal and pound on the metal to create the first music stand and create the forms and pour the hot metal into the forms. And what is that? That's destructive, and it's hard, and it's bending, and it's molding. But through that, we got this music stand. That's what God is doing to you. He's forming you just like this music stand. He's bending it and molding it and creating forms and pouring you and beating you. Not God himself, but life itself is beating you. It's hurting. If this metal had a voice or feelings, it would say, dang, y'all, that hurts. Quit beating on me. But he's creating you to be what you were supposed to be. And without that, you couldn't be that. You could not be who you are without a little bit of pain, without a little bit of molding, without a little bit of bending. So who knows exactly who they are? One hand. One hand. How many, show of hands. Who knows exactly who they are and who God created them to be? Who knows their purpose? I know my purpose today. Do I know my purpose tomorrow? I don't know, some of us do. I wake up every day and I say, I don't. I'm lying when I say this, if I'm being real with you guys. But what I want to do is wake up every day and say, God, what do you want to do with me today? What is your purpose for me today? My purpose today is to stand up here and speak to you guys. And everything that I've been through, all the pain, all the struggle, all the bullying, all the death, all of everything that I've been through, all the molding and bending and shaping and fire and pain and hurt, got me here to speak to you guys today. God knew I was going to be right here today, and he knew every one of y'all were going to be sitting right there listening. Now, God gives us free will. I get that. But God has a plan. God knew all of this before we were even born, that we'd be standing here today. Wrap your head around that. That's a game changer. That alone is a game changer, not an accident. Let's be real. Don't you ever look in yourself in the mirror? I do. Who looks at themselves in the mirror and is like, dang, I'm weird. Dang, y'all, I'm weird. All my friends and my wife can attest to that I'm weird. We all stand in the mirror sometimes and we look, I'm weird. Everybody is a certain way. And then there's you. And you're weird. And that's awesome. Why? Why are you different than everybody else? Why are you weird? Well, because God says I specifically made you. I made you to be weird. I made you to be different. And with that weirdness comes things that you can do. Casey, you can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else in the world can do what you do. Elizabeth, nobody else can do what you can do. Greg, you're so pretty. Nobody else can do what Greg does. Greg is specifically made to do what he does. And every one of us are the same way. We're all made for a specific reason. We may not know what that reason is, but Ephesians 2 says, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which prepared us in advance. Which God prepared in advance for us to do. Let me read that again. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. In advance. He prepared us in advance. I realize I'm belaboring that point, but my gosh, that blows my mind that we're prepared in advance. He knew everything that was going to happen. So why am I so scared? Why was I so nervous back there? I'm nervous now. Why was I so nervous to talk to you guys back there? God knew what I was going to say. God knew that you guys were all going to be here. So why am I so worried? Why am I so worried that I'm weird? God already knows what's going to happen. And it's up to us to figure that out. And we can't do that without him. I want to bring a couple people up. A couple of our leaders. I want to share a couple stories with you. Nicole, can you come up? And Ben, can you come up, bub? Give these guys a hand, yo. So I don't want to steal their thunder, but Ben and Nicole / Haley. Thank you, Haley. If you want to come up, you can. Got some really exciting news this week. And I'm super proud of both of them. I'm going to start with Ben, but we tell him your story real quick.
So, I didn't really know what God wanted me to do with my life for quite a while. Like in high school, I thought, like at one time He wanted me to do one thing, and then another thing. Thought I was going to join the military at one point, but then so I kind of stayed in high school an extra year just to kind of get more of a feel of what I wanted to do. And God finally told me He wanted me to do engineering, because I've always loved math and I've always been good at it. So I started going to Wake Tech, and I really felt like that's the path God had laid for me. So I went for it, and math has been my passion. I really wanted to excel in this, so I put a ton of work into doing well. And sometimes it was too much. I would stress myself out over my grades, because I really wanted to get into NC State. It's the college my mom went to. I grew up a huge Wolfpack fan, and I just have always dreamed of sitting in the student section and cheering on the pack.
Woo!
So I go to Wake Tech with this dream of going to state, but the degree I'm going for, you need a 3.5 GPA just to apply, and a 3.8 GPA to be a competitive applicant. And so I was really stressing about getting those A's, and up till now I have gotten straight A's. I have 4.0. And so at the beginning of this semester, I was getting extremely overwhelmed with my classes. I've got one class that I have no idea what's going on in that class. And it's just the course load just was too much for me. But then one day I was I was just about crying, because I was that overwhelmed. And God said to me, this is my plan for you. This is not this is what I want you to be doing. If this is my plan for you, I'm not gonna let it fail. I'm in charge. Just there's no reason to stress. So, and that was a huge relief. I've been a whole lot less stressed since then. Just on Friday, my hard work paid off, and I got my acceptance letter to state.
This is why we don't give her ice cream before.
So Ben knew God's plan. Ben depended on God. Without God, Ben wouldn't know where to turn. But he had a calling on his life that he was supposed to but attend NC State, and that was on him since he was a kid. And God provided. Ben put the work in. He did that, but he knew what God wanted from him. So he prayed. And he asked God for help. Now he's got exactly what God promised him. Now what's your next plan? Now what are you doing?
So do you guys remember when I spoke a few weeks ago and I kind of told you guys about my journey? And one of the things that I talked about was, how I had all these plans, but God kept giving me all these swerves in the road, and every time I thought that I, kind of got the train back on track, it veered off, and just all of that. And, and I talked to you guys about Haley and, how hard it was for me to be a single mom and just kind of all of that stuff. And, she's a senior in high school. And I think for me, it has been way more stressful than I think on her as far as college and all that kind of stuff, because it's like the culmination of, just all the hard times that I went through to kind of get us here. Do you guys know what spiritual gifts are?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I might have one, but I'm not 100% sure. There have been quite a few times in my life where I have felt God speaking to me very, very clearly. So prophecy is one of the spiritual gifts, and it's one that I never really thought I have, but then here lately I've been getting some things and like having dreams about things, and I don't know, just all sorts of things. So, Haley applied to several colleges, and ECU is her top choice. And do you mind me sharing this stuff? Okay. All right. Well, so anyway, she was very stressed out about it. I think I was more stressed out about it. And I have pretty bad anxiety. And one of the things that I've struggled with, and Tino can attest to this, is just, be still, know that I'm God, I've got you, all of that. And I'm working on it a lot. What? Okay. And anyway, so, she heard from ECU, and for the only reason being her SATs, they did not accept her. And so she was devastated. And, we were all just really sad. And anyway, so she was waiting on one last college acceptance, or not acceptance. And, she was kind of like, oh, well, I guess I'll, go to Wake Tech, or I could go to this other school that I got into, but really wasn't feeling too good about the whole thing. And I was really stressing about it. And so normally I sleep like a log. Like, I'm asleep by like 10 o'clock. I sleep all night. The dead could come walking through my bedroom and I wouldn't know. But
8:30, you're sleeping by
okay, 8:30. Well, don't judge me. I have a thyroid problem. Anyway, so I want to read you guys something. So I was woken up in the middle of the night, and I very clearly felt God talking to me, like he was standing right next to me talking to me. And so I wrote it down, because sometimes when things happen in the middle of the night and you're dreaming, like you don't really like completely remember them when you wake up. So I wanted to make sure, so I keep a journal, next to my bed with my Bible and all that. And so I grabbed it and I wrote this down. So this was April 4th, 2019. This morning I awoke at 4 a.m. The Lord very clearly told me to not worry about Haley in college. He told me she will be accepted to UNCG, and that is where she will go. She will also, while she is there, foster a closer relationship with her grandparents, who she's not super close with. And I didn't tell Tino, I didn't tell Haley. I just wrote it down and closed it and never said a word about it. And then Friday, she texted us that she had been accepted at UNCG. And she was still like, I don't really know what I want to do. And so I said, well, I need to show you something when I come home from work. And she said, okay. And so I came home and I said, I want to show you something. I handed her this. And she goes, okay, well, I guess I know where I'm going. So she went on the computer and accepted her acceptance and all that. And she's all registered for freshman orientation, all that good stuff. But very clearly, God spoke to me and told me the plans that he had for Haley. And we are obeying those commands. So God can talk to you. He might tell you something in a dream. You might hear something and you're not really sure what it is. Because when I would hear people say, God can talk to you, I thought they were crazy. I'm like, how is somebody that's not even here going to talk to me? But he has been. And it's a matter of, just being still and listening and obeying. So he can do that for you too. And going back to what Hannah said about feeling like you're all alone, grown-ups feel that way too. Okay? Like, as a momming is hard, so be nice to your moms and your dads. But there are things that were like when you guys are going through things, just know that it hurts your parents. As much as it hurts you, it hurts us so much more because we love you so much. And when we see our kids going through something hard, it hurts so deep. And sometimes we get so caught up in, wanting to show the world like, oh, I'm so perfect, and my family's so perfect, and my children are so perfect. Nobody is perfect, only God is perfect. And so we put on that front and we isolate ourselves. And like I said, kids do it, adults do it too. And so what we need to do is step outside of that and say, it doesn't matter what other people think of me, because you are not alone. You might be going through something right now. There are probably 100 other people going through that same exact thing. And you might be the one to open your mouth and say something, and somebody else hears that and goes, oh my gosh, me too. I'm not alone. And then somebody else says, oh, me too. And then suddenly you've got a whole group of people who are all in the same boat. And when you're going through something sucky, it feels a lot better to go through something like that when other people are going through it with you, or that you know somebody that's been through it and come out the other side. So be that voice, be that light for other people. Okay? I love you guys.
Tino, last I checked, NC State destroyed UNC in football. ECU. So I'm going to stay on the winner side.
We still wrote down your goalpost. Shut up.
Thank y'all guys so much. Give them a round of applause. So the main question is, do you believe? Do you believe there's a creator? That none of this was an accident? It's really hard to hear stories like that and believe that any of this is an accident. Some of you guys need to hear this today. I'm late, so I'm going to wrap up. But some of you guys need to hear this. You were not a mistake. God didn't create you on accident. God didn't make a mistake when he created you. Don't let the world tell you you're not worth God's love. Don't let the world tell you that you are not worth any love. You are valuable. God bought you with a price. The ultimate price. People say that something is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. Like I've got this speaker. It costs $1,000. Is it worth $1,000, but you only give me $200 for it? It's worth $200. It's only worth what somebody will pay for it. God bought you with a price. He sent his only son, Jesus, to die for you specifically. Like, y'all, I don't know about you, but that's a pretty hefty price. I think that tells you you're pretty valuable. I believe that with all my heart. I believe that God made me for this day. And it's the same for you. You did not randomly walk in here. You're not here on accident. So, as I close, can we do one thing? Everybody close their eyes. Bow your heads. As you close your eyes and you bow your heads, I want you to think of God just a little bit bigger than you've thought of him in the past. We tend to put God like in this box. We put limitations on him. We say that God can do this. This is what God is capable of. He's capable of doing this little thing within your realm of expectations. Today, let's give God a little more credit. And ask God, as you close your eyes, God, what do you want me to do? What are your plans for me? God, I am open to you. Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? Who do you want me to talk to? Show me why I'm here. Why am I here on this Sunday? It's not random. I surrender my life to you. God, you show me the way, and I'm just going to follow. Do what it is that you want from me. Lord, I thank you for all these people. I thank you for the small crowd that we have tonight that was the exact crowd that you wanted here. Thank you so much for Oasis and the youth program and all these leaders and all these kids who have had a much bigger blessing on me than they know. Thank you, Lord, for loving us. And thank you for sending Jesus to die for us. And it's in your mighty name I pray. And everybody said, Amen. Thank you, guys.